While the rest of the world is rightfully predisposed with anxiously watching what could be the beginning of tragic events in Ukraine, blockchains continue forming blocks and Cardano continues deploying projects. Since we can't meaningfully impact what's happening in Ukraine, our focus today will be on those Cardano projects. Ready? Let's go. Today, we're going to discuss the completion of the MuesliSwap version 2 audit, along with the plans for deployment of that new version of MuesliSwap. We're talking about the mainnet DEX here, not the EVM, AMM. We'll also talk about Pavia announcing the onboarding of what seems like some very legit big-time musical talent. And we finally have a real update on the Cardano Summit 2021 NFTs. And as a bonus, it's actually good news. If you watched the live stream yesterday, you already know we're going to start doing something new. I have now said, get ready, let's go to you 301 times since St. Patrick's Day of last year in episode number 1. I think it'd be fun if we had you guys start saying it. I think that'd be fun. You guys have listened to me say it 301 times now. Let's start hearing you guys say it. Yesterday, I wasn't sure exactly the best way for you to deliver those audio recordings to me if you're interested. Garrett had a great suggestion in the comments. He said you should use vocaroo.com. That's spelled exactly this way, vocaroo, VOCAROO.com. You can just come here, record it. When you get done recording, there's a little bit of, fancy button work here. You have to hit like stop, and then you have to hit stop again to get the recording to kind of like render and bring you, it doesn't really render, but it brings you to a page where it gives you a link. You can just send me that link and I can then use that audio file. So feel free to do it in whatever language you want, but if it's a really exotic language, it'd probably be helpful if I can like somehow make sure, or let me put it this way, if it's in a language other than English, it'd probably be good if I could make sure that you're not saying like, crypto is terrible, long live centralized banks or something like that. It'd be good if I can at least determine that you're not saying something like that and you're actually saying like, get ready, let's go. So anyways, feel free to send me those audio clips, vocaroo.com. There was some confusion today over when the reverse ISO actually ends. When can you move from those pools if you wish to? We had this on the reverse ISO dashboard. It said February 24th, 4:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, deadline to delegate to an eligible single stake pool operator for the reverse ISO, but it seemed like there was still some confusion. Discord to the rescue. So in the Discord today at 2:08 p.m., or if you're listening to this on the 24th, this was at 2:08 p.m. on the 23rd, I believe. Someone asked, Martin, can you help out here? Is the snapshot for the reverse ISO arbitrary? For example, it is not safe to redelegate immediately after the reverse ISO deadline? Martin responded, after the end of the epic tomorrow, so he's talking about the 24th, Thursday, if I'm understanding correctly, after the end of the epic tomorrow, you can redelegate. The snapshot is at the end. So if you are planning to jump out of one of the reverse ISO stake pools, you are more than welcome to jump into Army of Spies Stakepool, ticker AOS. MuesliSwap has been full of news the last 48 hours. We have been patiently waiting. I think many of us have been patiently waiting for that day when we wake up and there's an announcement on Twitter from MuesliSwap that says, hey, here's milk staking. Hit this button for milk staking. That didn't happen this morning, but we got something almost as good. MuesliSwap said, MuesliSwap version 2 audit completed. Be ready for the next stage of DeFi. Pretty bold. Down below here, we see our very own Papa Doge saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day. MuesliSwap also posted this today. They said to ensure a good user experience and decentralization, MuesliSwap version 2 will be rolled out step by step over the coming month. More on that later. But importantly, down below here, Lucas asked the important question. He said, waiting patiently on the milk pools to stake my tokens. Will there be such a future and such a feature? I guess future and feature, but he actually said feature. Will there be such a feature? And MuesliSwap said, yes, there will, smiley face. If you find yourself asking, okay, but what is actually in MuesliSwap version 2? Do not fear. MuesliSwap team has let us know in this announcement. So first of all, version 2 apparently has passed the external security audit by none other than M Labs. If you're like me, you see that, you're like, good sign, okay. But most importantly, and they point this out right in the article, arguably the most important of these new features is partial matching, which will remove the requirement of exactly matching buy and sell orders in order to perform a trade. So you probably know if you've used MuesliSwap. I've used it quite a bit. I know many of you have also. But if you don't know, when you use MuesliSwap currently in version 1, it's set up like an order. It's set up as an order book, just like you would see in a traditional centralized exchange. When you could use Kraken or Binance, you're probably familiar with this. You see an order book. So there are orders from people trying to sell the particular crypto asset and people trying to buy the particular crypto asset, depending on, what the trading pair is. If the trading pair is a fiat currency and a cryptocurrency, we think of it as buying and selling. But if it's two cryptocurrencies that are in the trading pair, you might think of it more as trading. But either way, when you currently use MuesliSwap, what you find is that you have to exactly match those orders, those buy and sell orders. If you want to buy, you can't buy part of an order that's in the order book. You have to buy a whole order. This often leads to you sort of skipping down the order book and not getting exactly the price you want because you can't match the exact volume of the order that's at the price you really want. And of course, if you're selling, that price is always the highest possible price. And if you're buying, that price is always the lowest possible price. And you find yourself, having to skip ahead and get a worse price than you were hoping for because you have to match the exact volume. Apparently with MuesliSwap version 2, that is over because you'll be able to partially match those orders. So you won't have to match the exact volume of those orders. You could just take part of an order. If you want to see the audit report, it is completely public apparently and available at this link right here at the GitHub. MuesliSwap points out that this lack of partial matching was definitely one of the biggest technical difficulties of using MuesliSwap version 1. And they know people are going to be really excited about version 2. But this is the way it's going to work. We're going to see deployment of MuesliSwap version 2 on Cardano testnet. So it's going to go to the testnet first. And they're going to provide documentation for existing MuesliSwap infrastructure providers. Those are the matchmakers, external APIs, all those kinds of things. Then we'll see deployment of MuesliSwap version 2 in beta mode for selected trading pairs. So not all the trading pairs, but some of them on mainnet. And then finally, number 3, we'll see a transition fully to MuesliSwap v2 as the main protocol for all trading pairs. This is a pretty big move for MuesliSwap, I think, and also for all of their users. I think once this is in place, the MuesliSwap user experience is going to be quite a bit like using Binance or Kraken or any of these other centralized exchanges with the traditional order book, except you'll be getting the best of both worlds since you'll actually be taking custody of those assets instead of trusting a centralized intermediary to have custody of your assets. I like to use AMMs just like I used to like to use order books, but I will say that in times of rapidly changing prices, slippage feels very different in an order book than it does in an AMM or a hybrid AMM order book type DEX. On the AMM side, sure, you can set your slippage threshold, like how much slippage you're willing to suffer, but it feels different. It's a lot more like the exchange is sort of shoving the slippage down your throat, whereas in a traditional order book kind of format, it feels a lot more like, yeah, if price is changing quickly and there's a lot of volume, you might not get the exact order you want, but you kind of know what's going to happen if your order does execute. In both cases, your order might not fill if you set your slippage too low on the AMM side, or if somebody beats you to filling an order in the order book on the order book side. But I'm glad in Cardano, we have our choice of both. Pavia had this to say today. They say, "We are proud to welcome Architect Beats, platinum music producers to the Pavia.io metaverse. They will be developing an estate as a studio, and together we will be exploring musical use cases for the Pavia Stadium." If you're like me, you probably said to yourself, okay, platinum music producers sounds great, but are these guys like real famous music producers, or, what have these guys done? So luckily we can just click directly or even just hover on their name. And here we see CEOs of Architect Beats Entertainment, production credits: Nas, Raekwon, Jadakiss, Maya, Max B, Meek Mill, Killer Mike. These are Waka Flocka. These are pretty big names. These aren't small names in music. These are very big acts that apparently these guys have production credits with. And this looks promising to me. I like the direction this is going with Pavia. I mean, they could have gone in a lot of different directions with this. I'm glad it's somebody who's been involved with really big acts that I think a lot of people will know about if they're into this genre of music. Yesterday in the live stream, we also talked about a question we haven't visited in a while, and that is, where are our Cardano Summit 2021 NFTs? Where are they at? You remember there was like a cool little turtle and a tree, and they kind of glowed. They look cool. We received them as what seemed to be Terra Virtua assets. They weren't really living on the chain. They were assets, and there was some kind of a plan for, it sounded like sort of a lottery, and some people would get those actually minted as NFTs, and we didn't really know what was going on. Luckily, it looks like we have some progress on this, and we have a really good answer, and it's actually good news from head NFT guy Joshua Miller from IOHK. He lets us know, let's chat about this. This references 2 points: the redemption for the assets from the Cardano Summit and the minting contest. That's the lottery thing. Everyone has received their assets. That was done months ago. Those were the Terra Virtua assets. But the issue has been communication about next. Luckily, we're getting that communication now. This is all great. To all of our friends at Cardano and the Cardano community, we're really sorry that you've not had your assets from the Cardano Summit. We had an unforeseen technical issue. Okay, great. Joshua says, originally there was going to be a contest. 1,000 winners would have their collections minted into NFTs. That has since changed to everyone being able to get their collections minted as NFTs. There you go. It won't just be these 1,000 lottery winners. Everyone being able to get their collections minted as NFTs. This is great news. Now all of us will get the NFTs. It's a submission. Send XX ADA, get all your collectibles minted and sent to you. Sounds great. He says we did a study between number of users and number of redeemed codes, assets, and it made sense that each of the 8 would still be a very low overall collection number. That's what we want in NFT, rarity. And email update went out not long ago, more status relay. People mentioned this, I believe, in the live stream yesterday. They said we should all check our spam folders. There should be an email in there. I believe this is the email that Josh was referencing here. He said, what's going on is Terra Virtua HQ is very close to completing integration. It takes some work, and we had to solve certain things. Myself and my tech consultant at Jera_NFT have been working on it. I spoke to Terra Virtua recently, and they're just working on integrating Nami wallet to their platform. Pretty cool, to be honest. So it's almost there. Everyone is going to get to redeem their collections to NFTs. Comms could have been better, but the work is almost done. That's great. We don't care. It's all good, man. It sounds like the NFTs are on their way. And the good news is we're all going to get the NFTs. You don't just have to be one of these 1,000 lucky lottery winners. I wouldn't be surprised in the future if they do this, that it's a very seamless process. I think there was some mystery as to why Terra Virtua was involved in the first place. I would guess that if they do this at the next Cardano Summit, it's probably going to be a pretty simple thing, more akin to the kind of NFT drops we've seen a huge amount of since the summit, where you can just kind of get them instantly, but we'll see. Here's a little bonus item for everyone who's made it this far in the video. So if you've followed this channel for a while, we've covered some of the rhetoric that's come out of SEC Chair Gary Gensler. He has some pretty wild things to say, in particular about synthetics in crypto. What are synthetics in crypto? So synthetic platforms in crypto are platforms that deal with the tokenization of real world assets. I'm using a pretty broad brush here to paint this, but and quite often one of the primary synthetic assets you see being dealt with are stocks. So a huge one, obviously, is a tokenization of something like Tesla stock. In Cardano, we have Indigo Protocol, which bills itself here as Indigo Synthetic Assets on Cardano. They say they're a founding member of the Cardano DeFi Alliance.org, And they have a Discord link right here, which will come up in just a second. So this post says, curious about Indigo token distribution and airdrop vote. They say, number 1, join our Discord, link in bio to stay up to date and access the Indigo governance forum. Number 2, read all voting process steps toward Indie distribution in the infographic below. Follow Indigo protocol. Then they have this little infographic. It says February 23rd, proposal voting start. Share your vote to have the Indie token distributed at launch or 1 year after. March 9th, proposal voting ends. March 9th is the final day for users to vote on when the Indie token distribution should take place. March 11th, final results shared. Shortly after the voting period ends, we will announce the results. So, and then down below here, it says no action guarantees any person Indie tokens. However, a lot of people are getting Liquid vibes out of this. You're probably aware that Liquid distributed an amount of LQ tokens to its Discord members that, let's put it broadly, made them very happy. After some time, they were very happy about that distribution. And people are bringing that up in reference to this post. So if you go to, what happens is, if you go to the Discord, there's a link to a forum that I believe is hosted on kind of an Indigo website. And that's where the voting is actually taking place. Again, nobody knows what will come of this, but I think a lot of people are participating in this voting because they're getting vibes very similar, or at least very reminiscent of what happened with the LQ token distribution to people in their Discord. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.